Hi, everybody. Hello. I'm beginning this by putting my spectacles on, so I apologize for that. And also, I apologize for the fact that I've got some notes with me. The spectacles are as a result of something that an observant reader from Holland pointed out only a couple of days ago. And I don't know whether this is a gentleman or a lady, but they said, because I'm not familiar with Dutch names, but they said that they loved the Joseph books and they loved us, but they were expecting younger people. And when they saw our photographs on the website, they couldn't believe how old we were. So hence these spectacles. The reason for the notes is twofold. And first of all, it's because Tony and myself only decided that this was going to happen late on Tuesday. So I've put this together quite quickly, and I haven't had time to memorize it. I like to memorize my talks, but on this occasion, I haven't been able to do so. And the second reason for the notes is because I've got some Joseph quotes in there, and he's far better equipped to talk about the subject than I am. So bear with me. So what exactly is an angelic intention? Let's begin by thinking big, by considering galaxies, planets, stars, suns. They're not just bright lights in the sky. To see them simply as balls of rock and gas and fire is denying so much of what they are really about. When we look to the planets, the galaxies, the stars, the suns, what we're seeing with our limited physical vision is simply a material expression of something far grander and far more important. Everything in the physical universe has an unseen purpose, an angelic underpinning, an angelic intent. And that purpose remains, for the most part, unseen and hidden on Earth because we are presently so steeped in materiality on this planet. In spiritual reality, the only reality that ultimately matters, every planet at core is, in fact, a sphere of energy, an area of specific influence, of angelic creation. Before a planet exists in physical form, before it is created, a bunch of angels, now I hope that's a respectful term, I thought about a squadron of angels or a wing of angels, perhaps, I don't know. And I hope they'll forgive me for that, gets together and they say to each other, wouldn't it be a great idea if we put together a place where in harmony and love, X, Y, and Z could happen? If we created a completely new spiritual playground where some of us, in fact, as many of us as feel inclined to do so, could visit in physicality to become more as a result of the experiences that new playground we intend to create will be able to offer to us. Then, when we leave that playground to make space for others to visit it, and we return to angelic consciousness, to our angelic family, we can take those new experiences back to us to share with the rest of that family and also to share with the divine. So that all the angels, every single one of them, and the divine can access and examine our experience. And they can also become more as a result of what we've added to the mix. Every planet is, in spiritual reality, a sphere that offers specific experiences to the angels who choose to visit it in physical form. Angels like you and like me. Here's Joseph from chapter 13 of his book, The Spaces Between, putting things into perspective in a far better way than I ever can. Joseph, I want to talk initially about planetary evolution and the way that planets are meant to evolve in the normal course of things, on a spiritual and also a physical level. Planets, of course, are in reality spheres of angelic influence, energy parceled together for a period of time so that members of the angelic host can visit those spheres in order to experience and to grow. And so, as I have detailed in some of the other books, certain members of the angelic host decide that a sphere of influence with specific properties would be a good idea for the benefit of other members of the angelic host and for their angelic children. So they band together to create a planet with particular characteristics in order that those traveling across that landscape can experience certain things that will add to their own personal spiritual evolution and to the evolution of the angelic group they have originated from. Eventually, that experience is then shared with the whole of the angelic host and is taken back to God. Joseph again from the same chapter. So, a planet begins as a perfect sphere of light that offers certain experiences that have been embedded into its matrix by the members of the angelic host that wish to make that planet available as a theatre of experience to their own section of the angelic host. And each planet has its own particular set of vibrations that can be read, that can be scanned and understood on an angelic level, as Joseph says. Now, the light that a planet gives off is a signature. When you look up into the night sky, the pinpoints of starlight that you see represent a pretty picture of silver lights in the sky. But to the angelic host, that light is a signature from each planet. And that signature says, here I am. This is what I have to offer you if you come to visit me. The opportunities that a sphere can offer an angelic child are initially made available to that section of the angelic host that created the sphere and to their children. But then that sphere, operating for the glory of God, is opened up to other sections of the angelic host that might wish to visit it to experience the unique properties of that planet in order to grow. That unique experience is able to be read via the vibration of light that the planet gives off. Back to me. Now, once a planet has been created, its cohesion, its form and purpose, materially and spiritually, is maintained by energies that reach it and infuse it and hold life on it. Energies that are directed towards it by the divine and by sections of the angelic host. In other words, every planet is regularly fed by specific vibrations, by specific frequencies that pulse out from the heart of the Godhead, from the dot within the circle, as Joseph puts it, and are streamed via the angelic host to sustain, maintain, and allow that planet to continue to offer to those visiting it the maximum opportunities to benefit from its unique setup, its unique energy matrix. As an analogy, we can think of these regular incoming pulses of energy as food that is sent out to nourish the intended status quo on any given planet. Food in the form of directives that encourage visitors to that planet to take full advantage of their reasons for wanting to visit it. But unfortunately, we are on Earth, where the starlight signature of this planet reflects its inability to operate correctly at this time, due to the effects of the fall. On this planet at the moment, we've created as humanity, and we live within a thick crust of negative intent and perspective, the origins of which can be traced back to that moment in the distant past, the far distant past, when we got things wrong. And we decided we knew better than the God we are a part of. We knew better how to create. We knew a better way, a faster way. And this is the event that Joseph calls the fall. Now, I assume that many of you will have read the book, but if you haven't, and we've been encouraging you to read it for a number of years now, I again would encourage you, please, to do so. In fact, you don't have to read it. I've read it for you. All you have to do is tune into our YouTube channel and listen to all the chapters. Not one, not two, but all the chapters. The book builds up into a very complete overview of what happened long, long ago. I don't want you to listen to it from me. I want you to listen to it for you, for every other soul on earth, for your greater understanding of exactly what's wrong here and why, and your further understanding of what an angelic intention is. Let's come back through the centuries to today. Round and round humanity goes in ever decreasing circles, still subconsciously believing we were right at the time of the fall, still attempting millions of years later to impose and strengthen our skewed view of creation across our world. Here's Joseph again, a short paragraph. In visiting your sphere and in communicating with you, if I reach out my hand into the ether of the planet, I am experiencing not what I should experience in visiting a planetary sphere as an angelic being, but I can feel the mist, the roughness, and the coarseness of layer upon layer of creative thoughts that haven't dissipated. If we doubt that humanity is currently misleading itself, consider society's approach to spirituality globally at the moment. Witness how society is actively seeking to stamp out any concept of guidance and input from a higher power, any notion of a God, any notion of there being a greater loving intelligence than that we can turn to for guidance, strength, direction, hope, harmony, and peace. The thick crust of negative vibration we've created is incompatible with the higher vibrational energies that are regularly directed towards this planet. The two are oil and water. As Joseph puts it, to observe and interact with your earth is draining. Consider that. To observe and interact with your earth is draining. So says a highly evolved spirit, part of a vast soul group, trying to help us, trying to get us out of current conditions. The angelic energies that sustain and guide us, that it is our right to receive at present, have to get in under the radar. They have to be filtered down to humanity and distributed by those of us awake enough to recognize them and to want to share them with all humanity, with all life here. We are needed as channels for those energies at the moment, as distributors of energies that otherwise would bounce off the thick crust of materiality and negativity and self-seeking we've created as humanity. And as a result, we will be left to our own devices. And we can see currently around the world how well that's working out for us. Those energies are the angelic intentions we receive and act as conduits for. So, to sum up, what's an angelic intention? It's energy and guidance from the Godhead and from the angelic host, intended to heighten the experience in a good way of those visiting this planet in human form, us. It's a connection back to what we really are, to where we really come from. It's a message from home. It's a regular food parcel sent from our loving family back home, which arrives via us behind enemy lines to give every life here, the love and the nourishment and the respect it deserves. That food parcel of spiritual energy at present needs to be snuck in. It needs to be secretly delivered. It needs to get past the material agendas, the locked-in head-mind schemings of so many souls who continue to create and fuel the mess our world is in at present. And that food parcel is for everyone, for every life here, for the uplifters and the disruptors alike. So, and as Tony said earlier, make no mistake, what we are doing is extremely important, is an absolutely vital mission, is the means by which sanity and sanctity and salvation can be and is being delivered to our world. The intention is to get us back on track by distributing specific spiritual energies at specific times. Energies that speak to the heart. Energies that all can benefit from. Energies that bring about a desired positive effect globally during the period for which they are active, like the current intention, transparency. Make no mistake. We, each of us in the World Meditation Alliance, is fighting for the restoration of this planet, fighting for the very soul and future of every life on Earth, for a return for the Earth and for us to our spiritual origins, our spiritual consciousness, and our spiritual purpose. We are fighting for the soul of every man, woman, and child across this world. Our intention is to continue to deliver the angelic intentions to all life here, for the sake of all life here. Our intention is, via the angelic intentions, to restore decency, honor, love, harmony, compassion, goodness, and godliness to our world. As family, because that's what we are, family, let's all keep on keeping on. Together, we in the World Meditation Alliance have a job to do. Together, let's get it done. Thank you for listening.
Okay, shall back?
We could invite questions if you like.
Okay.
A few minutes. Yes, if anyone's got a question, I will attempt to answer it. Where do I look, Tony? Nobody's got a question. Let's say, Michael, go home now.
It might be mute.
Ah.
I need to adjust.
Yeah, I've just unmuted everybody.
Oh, right.
Everyone's been allowed
My
to mute themselves now.
Excuse
Okay.
me,
Hi, everyone. Hello.
when we die, do we
Yes.
just come back again to this world as it is?
Am I talking to? Oh,
Green. Where it goes green.
right.
Christian. Yeah, I was
Christine.
thinking when we die.
Yes. Not if you don't want to, Christine.
Right.
There's a reincarnation is something that I could never get to grips with. I could never understand it. Why should we be the snake biting its tail? Why should we go round and round and round and round endlessly when this is a big universe? We're on one planet and this is a great big universe. Surely there are other things that we can experience, other scenarios we can move through to add to our personal and the angelic evolution, the angelic whole. Joseph explains it thus: this planet is seductive. We move through one life and we think, you know, I could have sorted out that business venture better than I did last time. I want to go back. I really enjoyed having 50-inch television last time, but 65 would be good. You know, or I rather like beer, or I rather like ladies, or I rather like gentlemen. And I think this time I could get things right and do things better. And also, and it's something that we touched on when talking about the angelic intentions, there isn't a lot of spiritual awareness at the moment. People pursue their lives almost completely materially. They never give a thought to what comes next, or if anything comes next. They don't investigate. And as a result of that, their vibration harmonizes very much with the vibration of the earth. And when they move on to the next life, the next stage in their infinite existence, it's very difficult for them to acknowledge and to appreciate and to see anything that is higher than their own vibration. And so when presented with the alternative of either to move on or to come back, the safe alternative from their point of view is, I'll come back. I know what that is. I'm familiar with that. And I can have another go on the merry-go-round. Joseph says, no, please, during your life, for yourself, investigate every aspect of spirituality. Reject what you can't accept, accept what you can accept, and keep going. Keep preparing yourself. Build up a picture of what comes next. Weigh the evidence for yourself so that your mind is open when you move on to the possibility of you moving into increasingly higher vibrations and spiritual spheres. So the short answer, I've been going on a bit, haven't I, is you can come back if you want to, but we are advised not to want to, so that the earth can eventually reset itself as the angelic playground that it's supposed to be. And then souls in full knowledge of who they are, full knowledge of them only visiting here for a short time and then going back to a greater family into spiritual spheres, can visit here if they wish to and take advantage for the earth for the right reasons, and take on board the right experiences, the spiritual experiences, the positive experiences that the earth at core is able to offer, but can't offer at the moment because we have compressed its purpose by our negativity, by our materiality, and by our rejection of any notion of us being spirit people. I mean, isn't it wonderful? We're angelic beings. Each of us is an angelic being, and yet we go 9 to 5 and we look at our lives and we think there's such small things, and we treat people badly, and we think bad things and we do bad things. And none of that should be applying here. And if we reject, if we turn our backs on what we got wrong so long ago, simply walked away and said, we're wrong, we were wrong, things would change overnight here. But we don't do that. We've got this subconscious belief as the angelic people that we really are, that we were right and we're still right. We still know better than God. We can create a better world than God. Here it is. I don't think so, do you? I've gone round the houses, but I hope that answers to a small extent your question. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
God bless.
Hello.
Hi, Michael. Hi,
Hello?
Michael.
Oh,
Hi. Who am I talking to? Sorry.
I think we've got Denise up next, and then we've got David.
Hello, Denise. Hi.
Hello. Right, I've got quite a few questions. Well, I've put them in different ways. It's the same question, really. In some ways, I know you answer it. You've told us we're the stubborn angels, it sounds to me. But I just was wondering, with talking, the way you were telling us about all the planets being angelic playgrounds, why is the Earth the only one where we have enslaved ourselves to this negativity? Why are we the only planet, as it sounds as if we are, that has got stuck in this negativity? And
we did ask Joseph, we asked Joseph that at one point as we were bringing the books through, and we said, is the Earth, exactly your question, the only planet this has taken place? And he said, as far as we are aware, yes. And it goes back to when we decided to create this planet for the right reason, but from the wrong viewpoint, we decided that the way of creation wasn't fast enough for us. That we knew a different way that we could bring back in positivity and glory to the Godhead and say, look at this, we can do it a better way. And Joseph describes it.
Sorry, that was explained in the fall, wasn't it?
Yes. In that there was then a debate that went on. The fall in biblical terms is about a battle. It wasn't a battle, it was a debate. And the group of us that wanted to create the earth said, we think we can do things better. And the rest of the angelic host said, that's not a good idea, you know. You can do it if you want, but it's not a good idea. We said, we think it is. They said, you know, you'll get things wrong. And we said, we're going to do it anyway. And at the point that we said we're going to do it anyway, we did it. And we cut ourselves off consciously from the God within, not subconsciously. We can't cut ourselves off from what we are, but consciously.
Yeah.
And at that point, we decided that there wasn't enough for everyone, that we weren't each part of the other, that we had to protect our own corner. We had to fight for food. We had to fight for power. We had to stake our claim. And we're still doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, if we look at the earth provides all that we need. There are herbs and there are fruits and there are vegetables and there are things that can cure us, not only feed us, but cure us. And the earth provides for us, but we think, no, I want that piece of the earth. I want that piece of property. I want those people under my control. And it all stems back to the fall. And it's that disconnect from what we really are. And we're at the pivotal point now where we are actively pushing away any notion of God, however we define God, as an energy, as a greater expression of ourselves. We are actively pushing that out of society. Because if we push that out of society, we have to worship society. And once we reconnect with the knowledge that we are spirit beings, that there is a power that flows through each of us, that you and I are part of the same thing, that we are part of a spiritual family, then we're back on course.
But
Then
equally, it seems there are a lot of people waking up around the world. The light network of light workers is expanding. So is it as hideously doomsday as we keep getting told it is? Or have we not, it can be very daunting to the hope.
That's why we're sitting. Okay, all right. That of course is why we're sitting. That of course is why we're bringing through the angelic intentions, to make sure that that doesn't happen. But as Joseph says, you have to, it's not a case of acknowledging that things are going towards a doomsday. It's a case of saying we've got to see what's wrong in order to put it right. We're not concentrating on what's wrong. We're concentrating on the areas that need light. And we are concentrating through the World Meditation Alliance to bring into those areas that need light, the light that is needed, and to feed those people who are wakening up with the correct vibrations, to give them the option of accepting or rejecting those vibrations, but making them available. So every week we make them available so that those who do want to acknowledge those vibrations and be fed by them can be. I've lost you, Denise. I don't know where you've gone.
Oh, well, I took the hand off, that's all. Okay.
Right.
I don't know how to put it back. Sorry.
Have we discussed
anyway,
this
we've covered. Thank you. That's fine. Thank you.
I think we've got David Mason up next. David Mason.
Hello, David.
And gone.
He's muted.
There you go.
Hi, David. Hello.
Thank you very, very much. It's a real privilege to actually hear you and talk to you for the first time in my life.
Very kind, David. Thank
I
you.
love the channeling and the books that you've done. That's really wonderful. My quick question to you is, I'm interested in defense. I've been in the defense industry all my life. I've been following quite closely some of the horrible things that are going on in various sections in the world. And I've actually talked to Tony once about it. And he says, we don't give it any thought because that strengthens those negative vibrations, which I can understand. But there's 120 people today meditating to give this power, this love. And many times there's lots of other occasions where there's all this energy, this love that's going out to try and make a change. And I would like something, a little glimmer of hope, that the things that you talk about with these intentions, that something that we can make a difference, because it seems such a massive undertaking with all the negativity and the destruction that's going on in the world and the scariness of China, and everything that's happening. It's just, I can't believe that our little effort can make that much difference, but I'd love to hear something to tell me I'm wrong.
Well, first of all, we get specific intentions. The current one is transparency. Now, if you watch the news, during the time that this specific intention is being active, A lot of things that have been hidden have become transparent.
Yeah.
And so the intention is fulfilling its purpose. Also, and it's a popular question, is how can we as a small group make such a big difference? We're not a small group. As we're adding to our numbers globally all the time, but we have to also consider that when we sit, we connect to Joseph and his soul group, and that's a vast group of souls. And we connect to the angelic host, and that's a vast group of beings, of souls. And so we are legion. And as Joseph says often in his books, one person sitting for the light is the equal of 1,000 who don't. It's a cumulative effect. And I think over the past couple of years, we've seen that there have been breakthroughs in the way things are going. You have to bring things to a head before you can address them. You have to recognize what is going on before it can be put right. And we are going through that process at the moment. I believe that we will make the change that we are supposed to believe. And I believe that because I don't feel that the soul group would donate its energies and its worries towards us, its concerns for how we are towards us, if there wasn't not only hope, but a certainty that if we act in a certain way, things can and will change.
So we can undo the fall, can we? We can undo the effects of the fall, can we?
Yes, and the effects of the fall. It's very simple, as Joseph says. How do we stop the effects of the fall? We decide en masse we don't want to do that anymore. We walk away from it. The reason it keeps repeating itself is that subconsciously we're hanging on to it. And so we repeat through history the same process, round and round and round. Different, it's dressed up in different ways as we progress as a civilization, but we keep doing the same things. What we are attempting to do with the angelic intentions is to distribute enough light for people to think one day, my goodness, that's not the way to act. My goodness, why do I feel different from inside? Once somebody changes from inside, they change forever. If you say to somebody, you're going to change and you will change, and you grab them by the lapels and shake them, they'll never change. But if that change comes about as a result of energies reaching them that speak to the heart, and they realize for themselves that they need to act in a different way, that change is permanent. So we are addressing not the minds of people around the world, but the hearts of people around the world, because the heart is the spiritual center. It's the core of our being. It's the real core of our mind, of our spiritual mind. And we're talking quietly, persuasively to those minds and saying, come on, there's another way. Come on, remember who you are. Come on, remember what the earth is for. Drop the way that you've been acting. Drop the things that you've been doing. And let's get together as a family that we are, and let's transform this earth back to what you and I at core know it is.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much.
That's great.
I think we've got Philip now, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Oh, hello, Philip. Hi.
Hi.
It looks very funny. Is that actually a backdrop, or is that where you are?
No, it's a backdrop. It's
Right.
It's very calming. So I find it very calming. And other people, I think, I've heard find it very calming when they see it like behind me, like to help relax and everything. So
lovely. Yeah, I thought you were actually there. I was quite envious for a moment.
Yeah. Well, it's like wish I was there. Yeah. 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 Because we can't. Not going on holidays and things like that. I had it on a lockdown, like and that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, it's an honour to be part of this and everything, along with you and everybody else, part of the Band of Light and everything. Yeah. One of the probably many questions I want to ask. One concern of mine is about coming back here. So, like, if I spend like all my life thinking, I don't want to come back here. I don't want to come back here, and then at a certain point you decide you do want to come back here. Do you sort of change over there, sort of thing, see things different. And also, can other souls influence you? I'm probably thinking like of earth respect. Say, like it's a party or some sort of event, and other people, like the mum and other people that you've been with, are sort of saying, well, we're going, why aren't you coming, sort of thing. Can other souls influence your decision to come back here?
Absolutely.
Many things can influence your decision, but I think from that point of view on the other side, you would say your mum wanted to come back. You would think, well, she's not going to go back for long. From my point of view now on the spiritual side of life, I know that she'll only be there for a few years, and I don't want to go back. So I'll wait. And I'll let her go because it's her right to go. But when she comes back, hopefully, I'll be able to talk to her and we'll be able to move on together. But certainly there's a lot of advice for us on the other side. There's a lot of guiding influences that point out the opportunities ahead of us if we want to take them versus the opportunities on earth. So if we've opened ourselves up and considered that possibility of there being, first of all, it's a big leap for many people to consider that there's life after death. It's surprising how many people, if you get onto the subject of life after death, they close down completely. They want to know. There's a huge fear there. Once they get past that and discover that there is something, then it changes their view of life. It changes their view of how they react to other people. Once they move over, they're open to the possibility of moving forwards. And from what I've seen, the glimpses I've been privileged to see of the higher spheres, no one want to come back here anyway. They are beautiful places. They are wonderful places. There are colors and textures and light that you can't see here. It's like the scales are taken away from your eyes and you're looking into a completely blissful existence. I visited a soul group many years ago, and it was a gorgeous landscape, beautiful people in harmony and in love, wonderful, beautiful skies, beautiful, perfect fields below me, a silver river that was actually made out of silver, and there were boats on this river. And now this place was absolutely blissful. I didn't want to come back. And yet it was only 2 levels up. Now that's 2 levels up. What's it like 6 levels up, 7 levels up? What's it like to be back into infinity with the rest of the angelic host? It's only because we've become so used to this place and so closed to the possibility of there being anything else that we want to come back. If we could show a film, we could put it in every cinema and say, this is what's ahead for you. Now, do you want to come back? There'd be a lot of empty seats after that film because they'd be queuing up to go to the next place. Does that make sense, Philip? Does it answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Yeah. As part of me coming back this time, it's an honour to be sort of part of this, if you like, at ground level to filter it through, sort of thing. So I just have sort of feel that's a purpose of being here now, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is your purpose. That's your purpose. What we're doing is really what we're about. That's what we've discovered. And the fact that we wouldn't have wanted to come back otherwise means that we came back to do this. And we must not think, well, it must have been out of my mind, but that's why we came back. Actually work with the light and to bring the light in on behalf of the rest of our family. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being a part of this.
Yeah, thank you as well. Yeah, thank you for leading us and everything.
Tony, can we just have one more question? Maurice has been waiting very patiently.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, of course. Who is it?
Marisa?
Hi, thank you so much, Tony, and thank you, Michael. It's just really a great honour to hello. It's a great honour to have you speak to us and all the work that you're all doing. I just wanted to ask. So I'm connected in with a number of spiritual groups, not many, just a few that I resonate with. Where I would say the people who sort of deliver information are maybe like indigo children, so a sort of younger group, but also a group that is seems to have no fear. They're not afraid to talk about the truth and to expose truth. And that's very much in line with the intention at the moment surrounding transparency. And those groups seem to be much more collaborative and wanting to work together and unify. And it's been a big shift from people, other amazing spiritual leaders like Neil Donald Walsh and Marianne Williamson and others. So my question is what you shared earlier about the angelic intention and that food and nourishment. So some of those groups are talking about solar flares, and that this year that they've started already, and it's a way for the Godhead to raise the vibration of the planet that will affect every being that you talked about just a little while ago. Is that something that you've heard of or are aware of? And it's going to be happening a lot more in this year.
I've only heard of it in passing, I must admit. But everything that happens to planetary systems, everything that happens to galaxies, the interplay between those heavenly bodies has an effect on us. Now, I'm not talking about astrology in the local newspaper. You know, you're going to find a shiny new penny piece today, or look out and tie your shoelaces. No, on a greater level, there is a purpose, as we talked about, behind every seemingly physical body. So the interaction of those physical bodies comes about for a specific reason at specific times. So yes, it's quite possible. I haven't investigated it, but there will be some effect on us because of the solar flares. There's an effect on us every time there's a new moon, every time there's the moon waxes and wanes. There's a pull and a push on us to make us think of certain things. I was once told by, I believe it was Silver Star, one of the guides who graciously works with us, that whenever there is a full moon, there is a pull on people that brings to the surface those things in their lives that they haven't yet resolved. And I'm okay with the full moon now, but for years I wasn't. Because every time the full moon came out, it did bring to the surface things that I hadn't yet resolved. And I use that as an example because every planetary movement, every planetary conjunction, and not just our own solar system, but the way our solar system reacts within our galaxy, and the way that the galaxy reacts with other galaxies, and the way that the galaxies react with the universe, has a meaning, has a purpose. And that purpose is always at spiritual core to evolve us, to allow us to become more, and to bring back to the Godhead experiences that also allow the Godhead in love to become more. And so we are fed, not just on this planet, but across the universe with the spiritual vibrations that we need in order to become more. And I remember the Persian gentleman once talking to me. He showed me a planet. And he showed me in earthly terms, because the human mind won't take in spiritual terms some of the concepts that are shown to us. He showed me an observatory that was above this planet, sort of arching over this planet. And I stood with him inside this observatory, looking at evolution on that planet. And he said, eventually, you will watch the evolution on this planet and be part of the directive of the evolution on this planet. And then eventually you will go on as an angelic being, as will all people on earth, to make their own spiritual spheres, their own planets. We are God becoming ever more like God. And as we become ever more like God, God becomes more God in earthly terms. It is a wonderful, blissful, positive, spiritual, loving experience that we are part of. So, sorry, I've gone around the houses, but yes, the solar flares have an effect on Earth in some way. I don't know what that way is. I'll leave that to those better qualified to say that than I am. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks.
Right. Okay.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Can I wrap it up, Jess, boss?
Yes, I'll allow it.
Okay. Thank you all so much. And it's been great to be able to hear Michael live and answer a few questions. If you have more questions, please send them in to us. We'll answer them on film and publish those films on the answers, and in auditory fashion as well, hopefully in the near future. Right. So please keep sending them in. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much for everything you're doing in the meditation. And have a good weekend. God bless you, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.